There's a quiet evening that comes for almost every hamster owner. The cage is settled, the wheel is still for a moment, and your hamster is sitting in your palm, grooming its face with those tiny hands, completely at peace. And somewhere in the middle of that ordinary, perfect moment, a thought arrives that you didn't invite. You do the math. 2 years, maybe 3, if you're lucky and you do everything right. You look down at this small, warm, intensely alive little creature, and you realize that you will almost certainly outlive it by decades. And the question rises up, the one every owner eventually asks. Why? Why does something so full of life get so little of it? It feels almost unfair. A dog gets 15 years. A cat can reach 20. A parrot can outlive its owner. But a hamster, this bright, busy, fiercely determined animal, gets a window so short you can see both ends of it from the day you bring it home. Most owners assume it's just the way small animals are, or quietly wonder if they're doing something wrong. But the real reason your hamster's life is so short is far more specific, far more deliberate, and far stranger and more beautiful than small animals just don't live long. The answer was written into your hamster's body long before it was ever a pet. And once you understand it, the shortness of its life starts to look like something else entirely. Tonight, you're going to learn why your hamster's heart beats around 400 times a minute and what that astonishing pace costs it. You're going to learn why an animal that lives 2 or 3 years in your home might survive only a few months in the wild, and why that fact is the key to everything. And you're going to learn how your hamster races through an entire lifetime: infancy, youth, parenthood, old age, in the span of time it might take you to change jobs. Welcome back to Hamster Minds. Subscribe before you go, because by the end of this, you won't see your hamster's lifespan as a sad little number anymore. You'll see what's actually happening inside that small body, and it will change the way you spend every ordinary evening you have left with it. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover takes this entire question and turns it completely around. And it might just change what you do tomorrow morning when you walk over to the cage. Number 1, just how short, really? Let's start by being honest about the numbers, because they're more striking than most people let themselves think about. The average pet hamster lives roughly 2 to 3 years. But average hides a lot. One large UK veterinary study, looking at thousands of pet hamsters, found the median age at death was around 1 3/4 years. Not 3, less than 2. And it varies by species in ways worth knowing. Syrian hamsters, the big golden ones most people picture, tend to live around 2 to 3 years. Roborovsky dwarfs, the tiny fast ones, are actually the longest lived of the common pets, often reaching 3 to 3.5 years, sometimes 4. Winter white and Campbell's dwarfs sit lower, often around 1.5 to 2 years. Chinese dwarfs, among the smallest, are frequently the shortest lived of all. Notice the pattern hiding in those numbers, because it's the first clue to the whole mystery. Within hamsters, the bigger species tend to live a little longer, and the smallest tend to live the shortest. Size and lifespan are linked. Hold on to that, because it points straight at the engine driving all of this. And here's a detail that surprises almost every owner. A hamster is considered elderly at around 18 months. 18 months. The age when a dog is still basically a puppy is the age when a hamster is entering its twilight. The clock your hamster runs on is not a slower version of yours. It's a completely different clock, ticking at a speed you can barely perceive. Number 2, the engine that burns so fast. So why does a small body mean a short life? The answer lives in your hamster's chest, and you can almost feel it when you hold them. Your hamster's heart beats somewhere around 400 times a minute. 400. Compare that to your own resting heart, beating maybe 60 to 80 times a minute. While you take one calm breath, your hamster's heart has hammered out 6 or 7 beats. Everything about a hamster runs at that tempo. The breathing, the digestion, the chemistry happening inside every cell. Your hamster is, in the most literal sense, living faster than you are. And there's a reason it has to. A hamster is tiny and warm-blooded, and tiny warm-blooded bodies have a problem. They lose heat incredibly fast. The smaller an animal is, the more surface area it has relative to its volume, and the quicker its warmth escapes into the air. To stay warm, a hamster's whole metabolism has to run hot and run constantly, like a small fire that has to burn furiously just to keep from going out. That furious pace keeps it alive day to day, but it comes with a cost. Running every cell that hard, that fast for that long, appears to wear the body out more quickly. Scientists have long explored the idea that this relentless metabolic pace is part of why small, fast-burning animals age so much faster than large, slow ones. You can see the same pattern written across the whole animal kingdom, almost like a rule. The giants, elephants, whales, live for decades, their huge hearts beating slowly. The small and quick, mice, hamsters, shrews, blaze through a handful of years. It's as if the faster a creature lives, the sooner it reaches the end of what its body can give. Your hamster is at the fast, bright, brief end of that spectrum. Its life isn't short because something is wrong with it. It's short because it's running hot. Number 3, the wild truth that built the clock. But the metabolism is only half the answer. The how. The deeper question is why. Why did nature ever build an animal to live this fast and burn out this soon, instead of slow and steady and long? And the answer is the most important thing in this entire video. In the wild, a hamster almost never gets to die of old age. Out there, a hamster is food. Owls hunt them from above, foxes and weasels from the ground. A wild hamster's life is measured not in years, but very often in months. Many never see their first birthday, not because their bodies fail, but because something faster and hungrier finds them first. Now think about what that means for evolution. If you're an animal that will almost certainly be eaten within a year, what is the point of building a body that could last 15? There would be no payoff. A long-lasting body is expensive, and a wild hamster will simply never live long enough to use it. So evolution made the opposite bet. It didn't invest in a body that lasts. It invested in a body that lives fast and reproduces faster, that grows up in weeks, has as many young as it can, as soon as it can before the owl arrives. Living fast and dying young wasn't a flaw in the design. For an animal hunted that relentlessly, it was the winning strategy. It's the entire reason hamsters still exist. And here's the part that lands. Your hamster, sitting safe in its cage with no owl in the sky and no fox in the grass, still carries that ancient clock inside it. Predators have been gone from its life for generations. The danger that shaped its short, fast existence is nowhere in your home. But the body doesn't know that. It still races through life on a schedule written for a world of teeth and talons your hamster has never seen and never will. There's something worth sitting within that. The small animal grooming its face in your palm is running on a clock set by a wilderness it has never known. Every fast heartbeat, every blazing quick year, is an echo of a world of owls and foxes and freezing burrows that, for your hamster, simply doesn't exist anymore. It's living at the speed of a danger it will never meet, and you are the safety its ancestors never had. Number 4, an entire life lived at high speed. If you want to truly understand how fast your hamster lives, don't look at how it dies. Look at how it begins. Because the start of a hamster's life is one of the most compressed, high-speed processes in the entire mammal world. A Syrian hamster is pregnant for about 16 days. 16. That's one of the shortest pregnancies of any mammal alive, barely 2 weeks from conception to birth. The pups arrive utterly helpless, blind, deaf, hairless, weighing around 2 grams each, smaller than a jelly bean. And then the race begins. Within about 2 weeks, their eyes open. By around 3 weeks, they're weaned, eating solid food, basically independent. And by somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks of age, they're themselves sexually mature, ready to start the entire cycle over again. Sit with that timeline for a second. In the span of a single summer, a hamster can be born, grow up, and have young of its own. An entire generation, beginning to beginning, in under 2 months. The whole arc of growing up, the part that takes a human 18 years and a dog the better part of 2, a hamster sprints through in a matter of weeks. Which means something quietly profound about your own hamster. That settling in period, when you first brought it home, those first weeks when it was shy and getting used to you, for your hamster, that wasn't a small slice of its life. That was a meaningful chapter of its childhood. The animal you have now has already lived through infancy, adolescence, and adulthood in front of you, often faster than you realized it was happening. It didn't get less of a life. It got a complete one, just played at a speed you have to slow down to even notice. Number 5. The same life, just at a different tempo. Here is the reframe that changes everything, the thing I promised would turn this whole question around. We make a quiet mistake when we think about a hamster's lifespan. We measure against our own, see 2 years, and feel only the loss, all the time it doesn't get. But your hamster doesn't experience 2 years the way you experience 2 years. It experiences a whole life. It has a real infancy, a real restless youth, a real prime when it's strong and fast and endlessly busy, and a real old age when around 18 months it begins to slow, sleep more, soften at the edges. It moves through every stage a long-lived animal moves through. It simply does it at a tempo set to a faster clock. It isn't a fragment of a life. It's a full one compressed. And once you see it that way, something shifts because of what it means for you. You will never be able to give your hamster the decades an elephant gets. That was decided by biology long before either of you was born. But here's what you can do and why it matters so much more than owners realize. Because your hamster lives so fast, every single thing you give it counts for proportionally more. A larger enclosure, deep bedding to burrow in, a quiet warm corner away from drafts, gentle handling, a fresh and varied diet, things to chew and explore, to an animal racing through life this quickly. Those aren't small upgrades. They are enormous improvements to a world it will only get to live in once, and briefly. You cannot lengthen its years very much, but you hold almost complete power over how rich those years are. The entire quality of its short, bright life sits, quite literally, in your hands. So the shortness was never the tragedy. The tragedy would be spending those fast little years treating the cage as furniture, glancing at it without really seeing the complete life burning away inside it. That's the thing you can change, starting tomorrow. And so we come back to that quiet evening, your hamster in your palm, grooming its face, and the unwelcome thought about how little time there is. You don't have to carry that thought as sadness anymore, because what you're holding isn't a creature cheated of life. You're holding a small, fierce, perfectly designed survivor, running on a clock built for a wild world of owls and freezing nights it will never have to face. Living an entire, complete life, faster and brighter than you can easily follow, in the safest place its kind has ever known. Your home, your hands, your care. Its life is short, but it is whole. And how good it is depends almost entirely on you. Tell me in the comments, how old is your hamster right now? And what's the one small, everyday thing it does that you know you'd miss the most? Say its name too. I'd love to know who we're talking about. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.